Did you know there's a protection that no one can ever take away from you? It isn't physical, it isn't visible. But when you build it, nothing around you can invade your peace. The ancient Stoics call this your inner dominion. Today, we're going to build this invisible armor together. Imagine for a moment that your mind is a fortress. Not a fortress of stone and walls, but one made of pure consciousness. The Stoics taught a powerful truth. Suffering isn't born from what happens to us, but from the story we tell ourselves about what happens. The philosopher Epictetus said it perfectly. It is not things that disturb us, but our judgment of them. Let that sink in. Between any event and your reaction to it, there is a space, and in that tiny space, your true freedom lives. When someone offends you, what really hurts isn't their word. It's the meaning you accept and give to that word. When something goes out of your control, what causes anxiety isn't the event itself, but your internal resistance to what is already happening. So, the very first plate of your invisible armor is this awareness. You choose how to interpret reality. You are the storyteller of your own mind. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and a dedicated Stoic, trained this skill every single day. He would write to himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize the power of this." If you can't control what happens outside, but you can control your response inside, then your peace no longer depends on the unpredictable world. This is the second plate of our armor, maintaining an absolute focus on what is within your control. Now, let's make this practical. Stop for a moment and think about something that's bothering you right now. Something that's occupying your mind and draining your energy. Ask yourself, sincerely, is this under my direct control? Can I change this outcome with my immediate actions? The answer is no. The Stoics would calmly advise, then this does not deserve your emotional energy. Not because it's unimportant, but because worrying about it doesn't change the fact, it only weakens you. Seneca, another great Stoic thinker, warned that we often suffer more in our imagination than we do in reality. We anticipate pains that might never arrive. We create these elaborate, stressful scenarios in our minds that will never actually happen. And yet, our body reacts as if they were real, flooding us with stress and fear. The third plate of your armor, then, is to train your mind to return to the present moment. The present is the only place where your strength truly exists. Not in the past that's already gone, or in the future that hasn't arrived. Your power is right here, right now. The Stoics also practiced something incredibly powerful called the premeditation of adversities. They would imagine difficulties before they happened. The point wasn't to cultivate fear, but to train acceptance. When you accept that challenges are a natural, unavoidable part of life, they lose their power to shock you. And when there's no shock, there's serenity. This brings us to the fourth plate of our armor, the conscious acceptance of reality. Accepting reality is not the same as giving up. Far from it. Accepting is about stopping the fight against what has already happened so you can redirect your precious energy toward what can still be done. There's a massive difference between resistance and action. Resistance paralyzes you in a loop of frustration. Action empowers you and moves you forward. But perhaps the most transformative concept in all of Stoicism is what they called amor fati, to love your fate. This isn't just about tolerating what happens or simply enduring it. It's about loving it. Because every single event, whether you label it pleasant or not, is raw material for your inner growth. Everything becomes training. Everything becomes a chance to strengthen yourself. Everything becomes a building block in the construction of you. When you start to live this way, something silently and profoundly changes inside you. You stop reacting on autopilot and you start consciously choosing. You choose silence instead of a pointless argument. You choose calm instead of impulsive anger. You choose clarity instead of getting lost in drama. In this constant, deliberate choice begins to shape your mind, just like a sculptor shapes a block of stone into a masterpiece. Realize how liberating this is. You don't need the world to become kinder for you to find peace. You just need to become more stable on the inside. You don't need other people to change their behavior. You just need to change the way you allow their behavior to affect you. This is true power. It's silent, it's invisible, okay? And it is completely unshakable, okay? This invisible armor doesn't make you cold or unfeeling. It makes you lucid. You still feel every emotion, but you don't get lost in what you feel. You perceive the world clearly, but you don't let yourself be dominated by it. You live life fully, but you don't let yourself be dragged along by its currents. At first, this takes conscious effort. You have to remind yourself, okay? But with practice, it becomes a natural posture, okay? And eventually, it just becomes a part of who you are. The Stoics never sought to eliminate their emotions. They sought to govern them, because a mind that is governed is not a hostage to its circumstances. It observes, it understands, and then it chooses its response. Imagine living like this every day, receiving a criticism and being able to analyze it calmly for any truth it might hold, facing a serious problem and acting with purpose without despair, dealing with the uncertainties of life without being crippled by anxiety. This isn't just some abstract theory. It is a practical training for your mind, and all training begins with awareness. So, the next time something tries to steal your peace, remember, between the event and your reaction, there is a space. Breathe into that space. Make a conscious choice in that space. Live in that space. That is where your invisible armor gets stronger day by day. And with time, you'll realize something truly surprising. The world will remain just as chaotic, but you will not. Difficulties will continue to arise, but you will remain unshaken. People will continue to be unpredictable, but you will remain stable. It's not because life magically got easier, but because you got stronger on the inside. That is the true freedom the Stoics discovered. The freedom that no one can ever take from you, okay? The freedom to choose how you show up in your own life. And when this freedom finally settles into your core, a peace is born that depends on nothing external. A serenity that cannot be negotiated. It's a strength that does not need to be displayed for anyone. Your invisible armor is complete. If this knowledge resonates with your journey, I invite you to join our community so we can strengthen this chain of light together. And to make this real for you today, write in the comments one word that represents your intention. Let's give this energy a shape. Thank you for watching.